Well, today on Nation, a window cleaners podcast, we're talking all about why you're growing so slow. Well, maybe you are. Maybe you aren't, but I bet you could go a little bit faster or more aggressively. So, if you're a window cleaner or anybody in the service industry, stay tuned to WCR Nation. What's up, everybody? Jersey here from windowcleaner.com, and you are here. What is up? If it's your first time here, have a look around. Lots of content. We got 8.5 years of shows. Every week, 30 minutes long. Haven't missed a week yet, knock on wood. Lots of content. By the way, I do have to say that I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I didn't think anybody had listened to every episode, and I had a ton of people who messaged me and tell me they did. So, dang. If you listen to every episode, that's freaking awesome. If you're new, that's freaking awesome too. So anyway, want to give a couple quick shout outs. Alex Bolton, you are absolutely awesome. Ruben Garcia, what's up, man? And David Mazzella, what's up? Those are 3 people who order from me, randomly chosen. If you order from me, your name maybe get called on here. Anyway, but those 3 are radical people. So if you see them, be like, what's up, man? You're awesome. Anyway, so I appreciate everybody who orders from me. Just a couple shout outs for that. But today I do want to talk about growth, like in general growth. Everybody wants to kind of grow. And here's the thing. No matter if you're new, if you're, used, if you're been in business for a while, whatever, you either want to grow bigger or grow stronger. Like if you're just like, no, I'm good right here. I don't quite understand that, because there's always room for growth. There's no company that I've met in my 20 years of doing this, talking to more window cleaners than anybody else on the planet. I've not met a company that is absolutely so spot on perfect they don't have any room to grow. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about growth. And everybody thinks that you gotta grow big. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. Big is fun. Big is cool. The bigger companies, just to say you've created this thing that's giant is fantastic, but just being healthy no matter what size you are, that's the key. Absolutely the key. And I want to start off the episode by saying there is no such thing, and I will die on this hill, but there's no such thing as growing too fast. Just too fast doesn't exist. You could double your company in a year. That's absolutely doable. You could triple your company in a year. But here's the thing that actually is what that whole saying is meant to be said. But it's not growing too fast. It's growing the wrong way or unhealthily. Unhealthily? That's a word. Like, you can't grow too fast if it's done right. And there are so many steps. So many steps. I mean, we're talking about training the people who have to do the work. We're talking about having the support team in place, right? Operations officer, admins, that type of thing. Like, you can't just go out there and be like, oh, I hired 70 new people yesterday. Let's do it. No, because then everything falls apart. You grew not right. Because 70 new people aren't going to do good work, and now all of a sudden everybody's trying to learn off everybody, nobody knows, and then you see what I'm saying. But there's companies that will tack on hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, and it's not a big deal. Because it ends up coming to the structure that they do it in is strong. Now, again, I like my very exaggerated circumstances to kind of make a point, but here's one for you. Say you had admins in place. You had operations officers that ran the show. You had crew chiefs for every crew that knew, and they had experience, and they knew what they were doing. You had 10 trucks all wrapped and perfect with all new gear sitting there ready. If you could find 10 new techs, one for each truck, that could then be trained properly by the right people, in the right atmosphere with the right things, and you had the work, you could do anything. You could grow like crazy. I know companies that are bringing 10 people on a year. There is going to be turnover. There is going to be, your turnover when you look at it and go, yeah, that guy's not working out. Let's get somebody else, right? It's not at all about growing too fast. The numbers of the speed do not matter. Because if you did $20,000 last year, first year, this year you may do 100, 200,000. That's like 10 times growth. You 10x your company. That's not too fast if you can do it the right way. So we all come back on this, and every time I say this, we go, well, don't grow too fast. Wrong. There is no such thing as too fast. There's growing the wrong way. Because here's the truth of the matter is that a lot of people who grow and they lose sight of what they're doing. Just like hire a person, throw them in, like, yeah, they'll figure it out. And then all of a sudden, a year later, 2 years later, all the people, nobody knows anything because they've all been trained by somebody who was never trained. And then you lose sight of that company. This is the reason why there's training. When you go work for McDonald's, you go to like a school to like learn. Like the training is what helps the staff produce. Anyway, okay, I'm off that part, staff. We'll talk about that. But for you, the reason that you're not growing, strengthening, whatever, is because of what you're prioritizing. I've been beating the prioritizing thing to death, but absolutely sit back for yourself. You're by yourself. You're in your head right now. I'm not there. Nobody else is there. I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. This question. You are the highest paid person in your company, undoubtedly. You are the most qualified and knowledgeable person in your company, no doubt. And the reason is because you built the company. This is your vision, dream, everything. The buck stops with you, right? You are the CEO of your company. Now, you may not even have employees, but you are. What are you doing with your day? Where did you prioritize putting the smartest, the most intelligent, the most productive, the most valuable person in your company? What are you doing? And this is coming back to prioritizing. I'm telling you, a lot of people are like, well, it's hard for me to get off the train. So you're taking the most valuable employee of your company and you're having them clean windows, which is the least qualified, least specialized. Anybody can clean windows. Now, I know they're not as fast as I understand that. Yes, you have to do training, and some people just don't get it. I get that. But like for the most part, anybody can do that part. I always do the shows that I title Window Cleaning is the Most Important Thing We Do. It's absolutely not. You're running a business. Are you cleaning windows? That just happens to be what you're doing. But you're also probably rescreening or gutter cleaning or pressure washing or whatever. So is the CEO of your company doing that? Like, is the CEO of your company changing the garbages at your office? Now, I want to say there is no difference in what you do if you're not a business owner, okay? If you are doing janitorial, awesome. Dude, that's freaking awesome. Be the best you can be. That doesn't mean that your job is any less important. It means that the qualifications and the money spent can be less. Now, if your job is to just go out there and we'll say push a broom, anybody with two hands can do that. In fact, probably without two hands even, right? Pushing a broom, cleaning up, that's very simple, right? It does not take a CEO to do that. But in your company, for some reason, you are. And you're like, well, I'm not above that. I know that. But you're taking somebody, the most valuable person. This is my thing. The CEO of, say, Coca-Cola is making millions and millions of dollars a year. He is not going, hey, the janitor called in, I'm going to go sweep. That doesn't happen. You'd be like, why? If we're paying you thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a day, are you going to sweep? No. We're not paying you that to sweep, right? That would be ludicrous. If I told you that just in those things, you'd be like, yeah, that's absurd. So why in your company is your CEO doing things that aren't the most important things? Like, if you're not cleaning, we talk about getting on the truck, we don't, whatever. If you're not doing those little things, if you're not stopping everything you do to go drive the guys, a handle that anybody could have done, you didn't do the important things that you're good at or that you can do. You didn't contact a $50,000 a year job. You didn't do marketing to grow your business. Every day you don't do those things is a day you lose. You don't just, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, but tomorrow's going to come regardless. If you don't do it today, you lose the day. So you have to prioritize what you do. This is not saying you're too good to do any of this other stuff. It's to say you are the most valuable person in the company. You're getting paid the most. You have to do the most valuable jobs and important jobs to make the company grow. You got to prioritize. And something that takes a long time that I think you should always be putting something into. And again, mind you, when you get to the point of a company that is so big that you have people under you doing multiple things, obviously, because we're taking that. And I know companies that have, 5 outbound call girls and 3 inbound. Okay? 8 people that just sit on phones. So when you're talking about like company, like, well, I get it. Like eventually you'll get to that point. Doesn't mean go out and hire 8 people. But what it means is as you're growing, little things can change. But what you can do always is be seen. The scary thing about hiring in general is that when you hire, you go, well, I don't have the work for somebody right now. Of course not. Because that means you would be doing 80 hours a week of work to be able to give them 40. Like nowhere ever have they had perfect amount to get somebody new. Unless you had 40 hours for you, 40 hours for somebody, that person quit, you got to get somebody in. Everything else is not. Then it splits, right? If you're doing 40 hours yourself, you hire somebody, now you're each doing 20. I get that. But guess what? That frees you up to do 20 hours of getting more work, even if you're in the field, which I think you should get out of the field as fast as possible. If you're growing a company, if you're running a company or a business, you got to get out of the field. Well, I like cleaning windows. Of course. I also like sitting on the couch, but you wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah. Okay, then run the business. If you don't want to get bigger, then at least get stronger, right? Yeah, but then I lose money if I... The other piece to this puzzle is if you get out of the truck or you get out of whatever and you're cleaning, say you pay a window cleaner $20 an hour. Just even numbers because I'm bad at the maths. If you pay them $20 an hour and you're making $100 an hour in production, that means you're losing $20 an hour. It means, because you're getting the rest of it anyway, you're getting the $80 if you do the work. You're getting $80 if somebody else does the work. So when you go, well, I make more money, man, you're literally only doing it for $20 an hour. Maybe you're $15 an hour for your tax. I don't know. Whatever that dollar amount is, that's what you're actually making. So you to stop everything in your company. You're not advertising now. You're not marketing. You're not talking to the big guys. You're not spending 8 hours a day on your business. You're out there cleaning windows. Guess what? You're doing that for $20 an hour. No. I could do $1,000 a day myself. Yep. And if you hired somebody to do that work, you would lose $160 in labor. You're making the remainder of that no matter if you do the work or not, right? So all we're talking about is $160. So don't tell me I'm in the field because I can do $1,000 a day. No, you are out in the field because you're doing $160. You're literally making $160 more dollars. Do you think that building the company is more valuable than spending 8 hours a day doing nothing in the company for $160? I'm guessing yes, right? Building a company is a short-term and long-term thing. We know this. Too many people focus on the short term. The short term is only here. Like tomorrow is only here as tomorrow because we're here today. That's the awful thing. But a month ago, tomorrow was still on the calendar. 6 months ago, tomorrow was still on the calendar. We had 6 months to plan for tomorrow. Now we only have a day, right? So understand that there is a short term and a long term, but people wait until it's a panic in the short term and go, oh my gosh, I'm so slow right now. What can I do to get business tomorrow? I need jobs tomorrow. Well, you could have been working harder 6 months ago. Literally. Right? So we got to prioritize what you're doing. You have to. You have to be seen. You have to get yourself out there, and that is part what you can do. If you have a marketing person, fantastic. But is there still things you can do? Can you go to BNI groups? Can you go to meeting things? Can you post on your page? Can you any of that content to be seen so people can see your company so that you're putting that out there? Now, that is marketing, by the way, not advertising. Advertising is me going, hey, you want to buy this? Direct. Marketing is just like, here we are. Look at us. Look at our name. When people go, I recognize the logo, that's marketing. Be seen. It's your job. This subject gets me a little heated. So don't fast forward yet. I have a shameless plug, and this shameless plug wears down people every week. If you've been listening to this show for a long time, I tell you, I'm a rep for windowcleaner.com. Put your orders in through me. And eventually people go, you know what? I've been listening to your podcast for 2 years. All right, let's do it. Thank you. The shameless plug of wearing you down is a shameful game that I play, but I appreciate that you do that. So if you haven't ordered from me before, you're getting supplies. You're buying lots of them. You're buying little bits of them. You're buying any of them. I want to put every order in. Literally. People always go like, hey, sorry, it's a little order. Do you want me to put it in my... No. I only make money when I put an order in. So some of you, I do this show, I do talk 30 plus hours a week on the phone, and I text message hundreds and hundreds of messages a week. Literally. People do not understand how much. We have 147,000 customers here. Not that I have all of them, but I want to talk to as many people as possible. And there's so many of you that when you need something, I'm there. And a lot of other times you're just like, dude, I don't even have any questions right now. I just want to appreciate you, and here's your order. So anyway, let me put your orders in is what I'm getting at with this long shameless plug. 862-312-2026. Please do let me know. Also, I do want to say one other quick thing. I have my own YouTube channel, which I'm really trying to do stuff. And I talk about this all the time, and then nobody goes and subscribes. So if you have the moment to push one button, please do that. It's WCR Nation is the YouTube channel. It's just new content. It's just other stuff. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it feel like I'm doing something. Subscribe. I have a whopping 1,200 subscribers. I would like to be more. Just saying. Also, American Window Cleaner magazine, of course, is amazing. If you have not seen the newest issue for this month, it is out, and Squeegee Tom's on the cover. So, what's up, man, by the way? Very, very cool. If you haven't gotten the subscription yet, go to awcmag.com. Get the subscription. It's $69. It's less than an hour's worth of work, and you get 12 months for an entire year with sticker sheets, with the magazine. Surround yourself in everything window cleaning absolute. Also, I'm always talking about Jobber. Jobber's amazing. That's all I got to say. Go check it out for yourself. There's a 20% code, by the way. A lot of you sign up for Jobber and don't use the code. I get credit for that too. So, yeah. But no, it gives you 20% off for 6 months. So go do that. The code's in the notes. Anyway, okay. Sorry, that was very long. Got babbling. But we've talked about kind of a lot of ways that you can get bigger, you can grow and everything else. But the one that people don't talk about the most is this is something that people take personal. And there's a lot of things that go in. So if you look at your close rate in general, somebody's got a 95% close rate. Somebody's got an 80% close rate. We tend to think that has to do with price because we don't want to be the cheapest around. We want to lose some people to well, the other guy's cheaper. Okay. I want to know that I'm there. But the real part of that is the closing skill. We were one of the highest, I've sold my company, by the way, but we were one of the highest charging companies in the area, anywhere. I don't know of anybody who was quite as high as us on most things, and my close rate was 95%. It really was. It was very, very, very rare that somebody would say no. And if they did, they were like, oh, let me talk to my... I'd be calling them, following up with them the next day. The idea of this is that the closing Skill has to be there. And this is the thing, when somebody calls you for window cleaning, so many people go, well, I don't want to be pushy. You're not being pushy. Pushy is the guy in the mall where you didn't tell him you wanted to smell their cologne and they spray you in the face. That's pushy. You're like, dude, no. But they called you to ask about window cleaning. It's not pushy. That is called sales. That's called getting somebody something that they want, right? So maybe it's your closing that is not good. Maybe you're not actually asking for the close. Maybe you're just like, all right, well, let me know. Maybe the way you ask doesn't sound confident. And they're like, okay, well, I'll let you know. Well, yeah, we did 10 estimates last week and I only got one of them. That's you. 1,000% you. A big piece of this is that people don't talk about is because people take it as a personal attack. They're like, well, what are you saying that I'm bad at? I'm saying that you could be improved. Everybody could be improved. That's fair. I don't know anybody anywhere in every possible way that is the most amazing and can't improve. Even the number one champion Olympic people train every day. They're the best on the planet, but they're training every day. You get it? Don't take offense to this, but be better at closing. Now, there's lots of closing techniques and ideas, and it's just understanding the idea that if I came to you and I said, yeah, I'm looking at getting my windows cleaned, just looking for price. I did everything in my power to pick up the phone, to contact you, to do the most awkward thing that a person can do because I want my windows cleaned. This person is literally saying, hey, I want what you sell. And you go, here's the price, but let me know. And you're like, okay, click. If I'm coming to you saying, I want this, you go, awesome. I want you to have it. I know I'm the best company. Here's the price. Let's get you down. What, Tuesday or Wednesday we have available. They want to be brought to the end. This isn't sales sales is a bad word, pushy. We just let them kind of come. That's not it at all. You're helping people. Understand that sales just mean that you're answering enough questions that they buy because it's the best choice for them. If you weren't the best company for them, you would be like, hey, don't hire us. And you would have lots of other issues. But you are. You're the best company they could possibly hire. Improve the sales. Don't think of it as being pushy. You're not being pushy. You're helping them. Literally. This is not weird cliche stuff, but if I go, I gotta get my windows cleaned, and I finish the call and you didn't book me to clean my windows, you did not solve any of my problem. In fact, you wasted my time. If I call your company for a quote, for whatever, if I just call your company, I'm like, hey, I want to know more about, and you don't get me set up with window cleaning, you've wasted my time. If you really look at it that way, it is detrimental to not do that. And a lot of you are out there just going, no, I'm not pushy. No, they'll call if that's not how that works. They already called. They already called because they were interested. They already filled out your form because they were interested. They already did your online content. They're interested. They're more than interested. Get them, help them through. It's so weird to me that people don't see their service as something that's of value to somebody else. I don't want to be sales. Sales is, when you talk about bad sales, that's selling you something you don't need. Pressuring you into something or manipulating to get something that is not the best thing for you. But guess what? If you come to me and you're talking about waterfed, I'm not selling you the most expensive one because that doesn't make sense for 99% of people. I'm going to say the best one, but I'm going to tell you waterfed is the best thing you could possibly get tool-wise. Absolutely. By far. I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that. Being in waterfed for 18 years, I know that. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to do everything I can do to get you into waterfed because it is going to blow your mind. It's going to change your world, change your company. It's going to be amazing. If that's really the case, then why would I just be like, all right, well, if you want it, let me know. Right? I know that it's the best. I know it's going to change your world. Why would I not push that? Your closing needs to be better. Just plain and simple. It has to be better. And no, I don't know that you suck at it. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that you can be better. Absolutely. And with all that being said, you could do all of those things right and still not allow yourself to grow. I've talked to more people who have hindered themselves. Literally. You get to the point where you're putting it all together, you're talking to them or whatever, and you're like, well, yeah, no, we got really busy, so we turned off our ads, in May. We didn't turn them back on until October. We were like, oh man, we are slow, we better turn our ads back on. And you're going, wait, what? You were incredibly busy. Your ads were getting the best ROI they've ever gotten, and you turned them off. Well, yeah, we were booked out. Did you hire? No, we were just too busy to hire. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You have stopped the growth instead of letting it grow and giving it what it needs. It's like having a train coming, and instead of building more track, you just stop the train and we're like, well, we're at the end. We're here. And you're in the middle of the desert. You're going, what? Why would you do that? Well, we don't have any more track. Build track. Well, yeah, but we just could stop the train. Well, okay, then it's not going to ever get to its destination. So many of those people stop this growth thing. Well, we kind of, we're too busy to do this, and we're too busy. It's like, you're too busy in the company that you're in right this second. You're not the company you are right now next year, 2 years, 5 years. I've had companies before that I talk to every week that have had certain goals, okay? When you have a goal, it's just a number. And you've talked to people who go, okay, well, I want to be $1 million company. Everybody says that. But you want to make exactly $1 million to the penny? That's kind of impossible, right? But they throw that out there because it's a sexy number. Maybe it's 5 million, maybe it's whatever. Maybe it's 100,000. You focused on the wrong thing. You're not focused on how to get there. Okay. Well, instead of doing that, let's focus, instead of just on that goal, then do everything to get to the goal. Let's focus on building the track for the train. All of a sudden, it gets to your destination. You're like, whoa, what the heck? I wasn't even focused on the destination. No, because you shouldn't be. You should be focused on the track to allow the train to go. You have to focus on your company to allow it to grow. If you step in the way. If you're bad at closing, you're stepping in the way. If you won't hire people because of XYZ, you're in the way. If you won't get, out of the truck, it's your doing that's gotten there. All of the things can always be improved, always. But growing, and people who are maybe not growing, sometimes people are, wanting to be bigger than they are. They don't know how to get there. It's very simple math. It obviously takes somebody smart or learning to be smart. People go to college to be a doctor. They go and train to be a doctor. And then once they're a doctor, they continue to read and do things to be a better doctor. But then you get into window cleaning and it's like, no, I just start cleaning windows. What do? Do you subscribe to the magazine? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you, go on forums and Facebook groups and read what other people and window cleaners have to say? No, I'm just here. Well, if that's you, then none of that matters, because you're not going to be any better. You're not even doing any research. You're not doing anything to change yourself. You're just sitting there going, hey, I'm in the boat. Let's see where it goes, right? Growing cannot be done too fast, but it can be done the wrong way. And that's the reality of it. Too many people who are not business owners. This is going to hit home for you, by the way. Too many people. There's two things that every normie says to somebody who wants to be in business. Well, there's technically three. Well, there's lots. First off, they go, what's your backup plan? Nothing. Not to fail. Like, what? Backup plan. That's like you being like, oh, cool, I'm going to school to be a doctor. Like, oh, what's your backup plan? You'd be like, what? Not. I'm going to school to be a doctor. I just told you. The second one is, well, of the three, when somebody finds out you're going into business, they instantly tell you about all the failures, right? Oh, gosh, it's 90% of businesses fail. No, 90% of business owners suck. It's absolutely the case. And then the other one is like, well, be careful. Don't grow too fast. That's what they always say. Speed is not the thing. There are people who run faster than any other human on the planet. But guess what? They're probably wearing the right shoes. They're probably doing it to the point where practicing and everything else, they can run that fast. I can't go that fast because I've never tried and I've never worked at it. You can. It doesn't matter how fast you go. It matters how you do it safely. If I put you into a catapult, launch it off, you're going as fast as maybe somebody in a plane, but guess what? Plane person is going to actually get to their destination. You're going to go splat. It's not the speed. It's how it's done, right? And if you're in a growth mode or thinking about going in a growth mode, that's really what you need to focus on. Change your mindset. Absolutely. Anyway, okay, I'm off my high horse. Wait, let me get on my medium-sized horse and tell you I'm a rep for windowcleaner.com, and I get credit for orders that don't cost you any extra for me to put in. I make sure you get your free gift. I make sure that, you have fitment issues if you need. You got somebody in your back pocket to ask questions. It's literally what I do. Down to the point of if you have a bid, you're like, this is the biggest bid I've ever done. I just need a second opinion. That's what I do all day, every day. And you know what? If you want to repay me for that, awesome. Let me put your orders in. That's it. People ask me about Venmo and sending me Patreon and all like daily. I appreciate that. I appreciate that immensely, but I just want to put orders in. If you let me put your order in, I promise you it is payment enough. So 862-312-2026. Let me do that. I love it. Also, subscription to the magazine. Go do that. That's another one. I see everybody who subscribes, and I see everybody who stops subscribing, and there's something to be said for that. So let me have a bigger magazine. I've owned the magazine for a while. Anyway, go awcmag.com. Get that. Get Jobber. It's amazing. You're going to appreciate it. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jersey Nation. Search Jersey Nation on YouTube. You'll find it. It has my dumb mug on the front. Subscribe, because that would be amazing. Anyway, until next week, go out there and make sure you're focused on growth the right way.